All right, turning now to a very disturbing report from Jim Jordan. Now, get this. Apparently, federal investigators were asking banks to search the personal transactions of individual Americans for terms like Trump and MAGA. Banks were also asking to use merchant category codes to identify potentially suspicious transactions. And what transactions did Treasury think were so suspicious? Small arms, sporting, recreational goods. In other words, if you go to stores like Dick's Sporting Goods and Bass Pro Shops. By the way, I got my boots for Iowa at Dick's Sporting Goods. Thank God for Instacart. If you're a law-abiding American who legally purchased a gun after 2021, your government thought you needed to be monitored. Now sources are telling Fox News Digital tonight that the impetus for this very serious invasion of privacy was, of course, none other than January 6th. Now, these revelations should scare every single American. You want to talk about privacy, constitutional rights, or do you want to live in an Orwellian nightmare with Big Brother? And by the way, so should Biden's wide open borders, which, by the way, continues to have real consequences. Americans, they're fighting back. The family of a 20-year-old woman who was strangled to death by an illegal immigrant who turned out to be an MS-13 gang member is now suing the Biden administration, saying that she would be alive today if Joe Biden enforced our nation's border laws. Here with the latest on all of this, House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan. You know, it just so happens I went to Dick's Sporting Goods, ordered from them boots when I was headed to Iowa, where I saw you, and the wind chill was 20 below zero. And I'm glad that they had great boots, great traction. I'm happy I went there. I want to understand this. Tell me what they did here, because do we not have privacy anymore in America? Is this not a constitutional violation, unreasonable search and seizure?
Yeah, now in the last year, Sean, we've exposed the censorship where you had big government, big tech, big media, big academia working to censor Americans. Now we have financial surveillance where it's big government working with big banks, big corporations to surveil, to spy on Americans. And so it was big banks looking and searching private transactions using key terms at the suggestion of the federal government to find out what you're buying, what you're spending your money on. Scary stuff. All it looks like, without any warrant, without any legal process, they undertook this as a way to identify domestic violent extremism. And here's what it sounds a lot like. Remember that memorandum in Richmond about pro-life Catholics are extremists because they go to church and they're pro-life and they talk about, protecting human life. That's exactly what these documents sound like. We're right on the front edge of this. We'll see how it all progresses. But it's scary stuff. It's financial surveillance of the American people.
All right, let's talk about, so your committee and the Oversight Committee went forward with a contempt violation against Hunter Biden. Hunter's attorney, Abbe Lowell, was seeking a new subpoena. You argued, I think rightly so, that we already gave you a subpoena. You can comply with that one. However, it seems that negotiations are ongoing. Initially, both you and James Comer said, no, we're not going to give you a special accommodation. It seems now that you're open to one. Why do I suspect? I know Kevin Morris is going in tomorrow, the $6 billion, $1 million sugar brother. Do you have any assurance from Abbe Lowell that Hunter Biden won't be pleading the fifth the whole time if you, in fact, give that special concession?
Well, we've had good conversations. Our chief counsel in the committee has had good conversations with Mr. Lowell, the counsel for Hunter Biden. We do believe Hunter Biden is going to come in. That's what we want. We want his testimony. Whether he exercises one of his privileges under our Constitution is up to him and his counsel and what he decides to do. But we do expect him to come in. We're pinning down a date for that. But we've also got Kevin Morris tomorrow. We got Eric Schwerin, Rob Walker, Mervyn Yan. We got all these people coming in the next 2 weeks. And then we want to talk to Jim Biden. And then we want to also talk to Hunter Biden. We just got to get that date down. But we do believe he is coming. And that's what we said in committee last week when we marked up the contempt resolution. We said, we're going to pass it out of committee. If Hunter Biden wants to cure this and he wants to come in and we can get the testimony from him, all the better. And that's the negotiations we're in now. We think he's coming, which I think is good for our investigation, our impeachment inquiry as we move forward.
You know, Joe Biden seems to lie a lot. We know he lied when he said, not once did I ever speak to Hunter, my brother, or anybody for that matter about their foreign business deals. Then he lied to the American people for years, saying the border's closed and the border's secure. Everybody around him lied about that. Now we know that he also lied. We were told that there was, in fact, an ethics agreement where they would never know who the people were that were purchasing Hunter Biden's art. Now, the art dealer gave a deposition, and in that deposition, James Comer confirmed this. We now learned that, in fact, he said, no, Hunter demanded to know who the buyers were. And, in fact, Joe Biden got involved, and he also was talking to the art dealer. I'm like, wow. Is the arrogance that high that they're getting money from all these countries, no experience? And Joe taking official actions as vice president that helps his son get paid for no experience?
Yeah, and the gallerist told us, George Burgess, the gallerist told us that that was the only contract he had with any artist he did business with, the only contract he had which had that provision where Hunter Biden can know. And we know that 70% of the art purchased in the last 2.5 years, totaling $1.5 million. We know 70% of that came from a couple of purchasers who happened to be Biden donors to the president's campaign. So tomorrow we're talking with Kevin Morris, who bought $875,000 worth of art from Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden obviously knew who that guy was. He was with him last week when he came into the Oversight Committee. So we're talking to him tomorrow. We expect to get some important information that will help us answer the questions we have as we move forward in our impeachment inquiry.
Well, apparently he was one of the big purchasers of Hunter's art on the top of the $5 million that had been previously reported. Will Joe Biden be called in? Do you believe that your committees will subpoena Joe Biden at the end of this?
We're going to move through the key players that we think we need to get to in this impeachment inquiry. As we said, Kevin Morris tomorrow. Next week, Eric Shurin, Rob Walker. We will talk to them. Then we want to talk to Jim Biden and then Hunter Biden. We think all that's going to happen. And then I think we make a decision. Do we move forward with actual articles of impeachment? As I've said many times, Sean, and you know, the evidence I think we have thus far is already pretty darn compelling. But it's important we do this the right way, do it with the facts, get the evidence, talk to the key people. That's what we're doing on the Judiciary Committee. That's what Mr. Comer is doing on Oversight. And, of course, we had the whistleblowers come through the Ways and Means Committee.
All right. Congressman Jim Jordan, House Judiciary Committee Chairman. Thank you, sir. We appreciate your time as always. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.